shock," Alicen said, downing the rest of the wine in her glass as Sarah huffed. This was her mother's regular pattern. Find the man of her dreams, swear this time was different from the dozens before, run away with him to whatever corner of the earth he resided in, and then end up back at Alicen's door when the man of her dreams turned out to be just a man. "Mom, did you see what I did?" her daughter said, plopping her wet figure down on the end of Alice's chaise longue. Droplets of water splashed across Alicen's knees, and she brushed them away. "Jane," Alicen scolded, "you're all wet, honey." "Sorry," Jane said, popping off the seat. "But did you see?" "See what?" "My huge jump," Jane said, spreading her short arms toward the sky, eyes wide with her own wonder. More water flung off the girl and touched down on Alicen's skin. "Jane, please. I'm trying not to get wet." "Mrs. McAffery, your mother is still waiting," Sarah said. "Grandma? Is she coming to visit again?" "No. Now please step back. If you're done with the pool, then—" No, I'm not," Jane said. "We've been out here for over an hour. Maybe it's time to go in," Alicen said. "Mom, no, I never want to leave. I want to live in the water. I want to be a mermaid." Jane spun in a small circle and dragged her arms across the sky. "You're not a mermaid, you're a girl, and all this chlorine isn't good for your beautiful hair." "Evie says I can be whatever I want," Jane said. Alicen bit her tongue and tried not to show her disapproval at the mention of Jane's longtime imaginary friend. She was going to be 6 in a couple of months, and Alicen thought maybe she was getting too old to still believe in such things. The phone chirped inside, signaling that her mother was still on the line. One would think that after minutes of waiting she would have hung up, but Alicen's mother was nothing if not relentless. Alicen turned to Sarah. "Tell her I'll be right there." Sarah chuckled at Alicen's clear lack of enthusiasm and left to deliver the message. "Jane, it's time to go in," Alicen said, unwrapping her legs and slipping them into the thin flip-flops that rested next to her chair. "Please, just a couple more minutes," Jane begged, her blue eyes bright and occupying the majority of her tiny round face. "Jane," the girl dropped to her knees and clamped her hands together, her face doused in agony. "Mom, please, I'll do anything." Alicen tried not to smile at her daughter's flair for the dramatic and reminded herself that it was a trait inherited from the woman waiting on the phone. It wasn't Jane's fault her grandmother didn't have any positive traits to hand down. She sighed and shook her head slightly before giving in. 10 minutes. Once I'm off the phone with Grandma, you're coming in." Jane bounced up with glee and rushed toward the pool, her long blonde locks swinging damply behind her. "Don't run, it's slippery," Alicen called and watched her daughter slow. Barely. She turned to head inside as Jane's voice filled the sky with a song about transforming into a mermaid, clearly a self-made number. Alicen couldn't help but smile. They were going to have to cure that dramatic streak before it was too late and Jane became Alicen's mother. She stopped just before stepping inside and glanced at the dark wood luxury poolside furniture perfectly placed throughout the backyard. An image of her husband's annoyed face flashed behind her eyes as she briefly recalled the fight it had taken to get what she wanted. A wide smile broke over her lips, and a shiver of satisfaction rumbled beneath her skin. Winning was always sweetest when she was battling her beloved. Active as Alan's wandering hands were, Alicen deserved 10 sets of luxury furniture. She stepped inside, leaving the glass door open just a bit so she could still hear Jane's sweet notes, and walked across the marble tile to where the phone rested on the small built-in desk just inside the kitchen. The red light on the device blinked every couple of seconds to signal someone was on hold. Alicen took a deep breath before picking it up off the receiver. "Betty," Alicen said, forcing a mildly pleasant tone.